Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Good morning.
And welcome back. So today I brought my lovely wife here, Sadie, to talk about one of our rental properties that we own and to go over some of the recent numbers that have changed on them, specifically the ROI. It's been pretty exciting and we're excited to share it with you guys.
So the property that we're talking about today is our very first rental property that we got together as a couple, and we didn't mean for it to be a rental property when we first bought it because we didn't know anything about real estate.
Nothing at all. And we still know very little. So to get to the numbers of what that house looks like today, we do have to give you a quick backstory on how it came to be and how we got it as a rental and kind of everything with the house. So it all starts like 2.5, 3 years ago when I first started working at my job that I'm still currently at. I was a few months in and it was going super well. I was really enjoying it. I was making good money. So at that time, Sadie started to look at houses because we were renting and she wanted to buy something. Don't get me wrong, I did too, but I was a lot more skeptical about it because I didn't know anything about it. And she was looking at houses and like brand new houses in newer neighborhoods, and that really scared me and I was very against it.
Okay, but let me explain to you why. I was looking at houses and I was looking at these old houses, run down, stuff that would need quite a bit of work. And then I was looking at these new homes, and honestly, they were not that much more to build a house. So I was thinking, build a house, sit on it for a little while, and then turn around and sell it once the market goes up.
Again, I was new and I didn't really have a clue about any of this kind of stuff, so I was just kind of nervous and on the fence about it. I knew it was good to buy a house and buy real estate, but I didn't know all the specifics to it like I do now. So needless to say, I was quite nervous about it.
So after weeks and weeks of begging this guy right here for a brand new house, we ended up getting a brand new house in a brand new neighborhood. It was definitely bigger than we needed. 4-bed, 3-bath. And it was amazing.
So we ended up going through and buying the house. It was $249,000. We put 10% down. At the time, that's just what houses were going for, which looking back at that price now, it's absolutely crazy. So I'm obviously glad that we did it, but at the time it was super scary for us. After we bought the house, we were living in there for a little while when I decided to pick up the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I gave it a good quick read. In the book, I specifically remember coming across a story that he tells of a young couple that gets a new job, a good paying job. They immediately buy a brand new house, brand new car, brand new everything, and they fall into lifestyle inflation, which is basically just spending more when you make more. And so that like extra scared me because I read that and I was like, oh crap, like we did this all wrong, like we got the job, now we're just gonna buy this house, like what's gonna be next? Like it made me really nervous just because I read that, and then afterwards, it was either in the book or I was watching a YouTube video, somebody made a suggestion that when you're young, you should buy a like duplex or a multifamily and rent out part of it so that they can pay part of your mortgage. And I thought that was a really good idea, but we had also just moved into this new house and we knew of the rule that you had to live in the house for a year before you move out and rent it out. And so, I don't know, my mind was kind of mixed at that point. I didn't know what to think about it. I was kind of nervous about it.
So Cam comes to me and he goes, Sadie, we are doomed. We did this all wrong. It's so backwards. We should have started smaller. We should have started with a duplex or something. And so we put our heads together and we got to thinking about what we could do to solve this. And we decided that the best route for us would be to give up that big house and move into a duplex.
After living there for a year.
Yes, after living there for an entire year because we had to follow that rule from our mortgage company.
Yeah. So that's exactly what we did. We waited for a year and then we went looking for other houses, whether it was like a duplex or a house with a mother-in-law basement. Something where we could have tenants offset the mortgage.
So after we found the new home that we were going to move into and rent out half of it, we decided the best course of action would be to also rent out our very first house.
Instead of selling it, because originally we were going to sell it, but the market was kind of going up like crazy from when we first bought it, and we kind of wanted to wait it out and see what happened. even though the numbers for the rental on that house didn't make a whole lot of sense. The rent payment was $1,600 and our mortgage was $1,350, which put our cash flow at $250. But then if you account for like future vacancies and repairs and that kind of stuff, it didn't leave us with a ton. However, it was a new build, so we don't expect much to happen with it at all because everything's brand new and nice, so we don't expect there to be too many repairs. We obviously still set money aside for that just in case, but I think on that house we're a little bit more okay not setting as much aside just because it is newer. But anyways, there just wasn't a lot of spread there between the rent and the mortgage, but we still decided to rent it out for appreciation reasons.
Yeah, it was going up. Like we said, it was in a new neighborhood, so as soon as all the homes in that neighborhood were finished, the prices definitely went up, along with the entire market going up here in Utah.
We also weren't super worried about any vacancies because it's a higher demand rental area where we were living, so we also weren't super worried about that. But from when we first started renting it out until like a year later, most months our ROI was anywhere from like 8 to 10%, which is still really good, and that's why we kept doing it. But that's with actual numbers, not any repairs or anything. So if there was like a big repair that we had to do that could screw us up one month, fortunately for us, we didn't have that, so the numbers stayed pretty consistent throughout the year.
Yeah, and we had good tenants who paid mostly on time and paid in full.
So fast forward a year after having the tenants in there, it's going okay. I mean, we're still getting an 8 to 10% ROI. The market is rising. I'm still honestly a little iffy about the whole situation just because it's not like the best rental numbers. So for a while there, we started looking at potentially selling it. And then after a few weeks of looking, we just came to the conclusion that if we sold this house, it would be pretty difficult and really expensive to find another one. So that's when we started looking into doing a cash out refinance, which honestly, we should have thought of this from the beginning because it turned out to be an absolutely incredible deal for us, and we are super happy that we did it.
So we had actually put 10% into this house, which was more than we needed to as first-time home buyers. But we did it anyway, so we had all this cash in this deal. And now in present time, rents have gone up and the market in our small little town is insane. Houses go like in a day and they go way over asking price. So we knew that the value of our home was quite a bit higher than when we first purchased it.
So with rents going up in the area, we decided to keep up with market value and raise ours from $1,600 to $1,800. The tenants were okay with that, and they decided that they wanted to stay another year, and honestly that was cutting them a big deal. With the size and the newness of the house, I think we could have gotten a little bit more out of it, but we're totally okay just letting them stay and getting them a little bit of a deal just because they have been really good tenants to us. So like I explained before, our ROI per month was around 8 to 10%, and that was because we had 10% down in the deal. We were able to cash out most of our initial investment. Just to use round numbers to make it easier, we were able to take out around $21,000 as a cash out, and we had to leave $6,000 in the deal, or around $6,000.
But we still have 20% equity in the home.
Yeah, with 20% equity in the home because of the inflation in the market. So now how our new scenario looks is raised rents by $200 at $1,800, only about $6,000 in the deal instead of $27,000, and cashed out about $21,000, which we're gonna keep in a savings account until we buy our next rental property and use that money towards the next rental.
So now I know words are confusing, so we will jump into Cam's computer and kind of show you guys the numbers and how it all works out for us.
Okay, now that we're on my screen here, this is how I keep track of my ROI on each of our rental properties each month. So down here, as you can see, it's just month by month. And then I do the 4 different quadrants, so income, expenses, cash flow, and then our cash on cash ROI. So as you can see here, our new rental income is $1,800 per month. The new mortgage with the cash out refinance is $1,261.
And that's with our interest rate going down by about 0.75 of a percentage.
Yeah. And that $1,261 also includes taxes and insurance. So if we take our income minus expenses, that'll give us an estimated cash flow of $539, which I will go over repairs here in just a little bit. And then like I said, with the cash out, that left us with exactly $6,288.64 into the deal. So if we take our cash flow, the $539 times by 12, that gives us our yearly cash flow, which is $6,468. So to get our estimated cash on cash ROI, we would just take our yearly cash flow divided by our total investment. And that now puts us from what we were getting before, an 8 to 10%, all the way up to over a 100% cash on cash ROI.
Now we understand that it's not gonna be like this every single month. There's often repairs or vacancies or things like that that we have to take into account. So we do take out a certain percentage and set it aside for when things do come up.
So each month for each of our rental properties, we set aside 15 to 20% of the rental income for future repairs and stuff. The percentage that we take out of it really just depends on which property it is. So for this one, since it is newer and doesn't need as much, we usually just do about 15%, which comes out to $270 per month. So if we did that, it still gives us a good monthly cash flow and it still gives our ROI at 51.33%. But if we look at it in real time, month to month, this whole year we haven't really had any expenses at all. So I would say most months realistically are gonna be 80 to 100% ROI. And then if there's some really weird month that we have to have like a big expense, it might go down to that 50%. I doubt that it will ever get down that low just because again, there's hardly any vacancies in that area and there's not going to be too many repairs that we're going to need to do. So we're pretty confident with the 80 to 100% ROI per month.
But we always do plan for the future, so the money that we collect from this is set off to the side and we're not touching it unless something comes up. So Cam, did we ruin our lives by buying this house?
No, so it ended up being A-okay. And that's gonna be our biggest takeaway from this, at least from my perspective, is I was so nervous and skeptical about it and I thought of everything that could go wrong. And things can definitely go wrong. I'm definitely not saying that you should just go out and buy whatever house that you want. I think you should do some good research, get to know your market, make sure you feel comfortable with it. But when you feel comfortable enough, just go for it. You're still gonna have questions, you're still gonna have concerns, but you'll find ways to make things work. I feel like with all of our houses, it's been super different with each one, but we've found different ways to make them work.
So hopefully this shows you guys that you don't always have to buy an old rundown home that you need to fix up a ton and flip it to make money off of it. We bought a brand new home in a brand new neighborhood and ended up just refinancing it and being just fine.
It took us about 2.5 to 3 years to get to this point, but it was definitely worth it, even all the headaches in the beginning.
Yeah, hopefully this opened your eyes to a new way that you can invest in rental properties. And if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to reach out and ask. We're happy to answer, happy to help.
We're definitely not experts in this, and we know that your experience isn't going to be exactly comparable to ours, but we hope this helped you in some type of way. Like she said, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Yeah, we're not experts, but we'll do our best.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.
See ya.
Bye.